mind looking at them. Hi! Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Hi.
We are getting instruction from the man behind the curtain.
The wizard.
The wizard behind the curtain to look at tape lines, and I'm very confused, so I'll get with him after we're done here.
Towels in the cup are in the shop.
Oh.
And, yeah. So anyway, we are StudioR12 Stencils.
Yes, we are.
And I am Patty.
And I'm Kari.
And we are here to show you how to fix mistakes when you stencil. And even if they're mistakes you made a long time ago.
Yeah, a lot of times we've done several videos on mistakes and we talk about time is of the essence. This is why we tell you to peek, because if your paint has cured, you're not going to be able to use water to fix it. However, you may have been painting before you found us, and then you wouldn't have known that, and you might have projects with some mistakes.
Well, and
bleeding
while
under.
I was gathering samples that we already painted to paint over, I was thinking, you know what? If you painted something in this color with this word on it, but you wanted it to be a fall thing, you might be able to just, not might be, you can sand right off and repaint the thing, and I'm going to show you how to do that, especially if you've already varnished or waxed your project. So that's important, is how to take care of the varnish and the wax, and then how to fix anything that bleeds under or any of that kind of stuff. So if you don't use the dome brushes, you might have a bleed under problem. It's the most commonly searched term that has to do with stencils is bleeding under. So.
Yes, and I already have a question about the varnish,
Cool.
so remind me to ask you when we talk about that.
All right.
We have some really
There's some exciting
awesome
news.
and
Yeah.
exciting and fun announcements for you today. So first of all, I know you have been waiting on our ribbon video. I gave you guys a sneak peek
Guys,
last
it's
week.
the best.
Good news is it'll be released this week. We are putting the finishing touches on it, and we think you're going to be really happy with it. We have
My hippie noodle is blown.
When I was filming it last week, Patty kept coming in and like taking peeks to see the progress.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And
It's so cool.
It's going to be super cool. We think you're going to love it, and we think you're going to be really that you just don't have a bucket of ribbon.
Yeah. Ribbon storage, because when you get those tails out, then they get tangled if you put them together. You can try taping them. It doesn't always work. There's so much to it. And then if you need to know, like, so say you do have like a box or a bucket, if anything's on top of anything else, you won't be able to tell what you have. So this system, this little simple system, is going to solve all that for you, and we are so excited to share because it is mind blowing.
Agreed. And then we also have another exciting announcement.
It's our exciting announcement.
It is our
right?
exciting announcement. We had told you guys, I think last week, that we were getting really close to a big goal on YouTube, and we hit that goal
Yay,
just
8,000.
overnight. So we now have 8,000 subscribers,
Yeah.
and we are so excited. We're so thankful for you guys who tune in every week and
Yeah.
subscribe and watch our stuff.
And you guys, to know that you have a part in what we do is when you comment, when you give a thumbs up, when you subscribe, obviously, but that tells your fellow painters that this content makes sense for you. So, and then that tells YouTube that people like what we're doing, and that tells YouTube to show it to more people, because they will not show stuff that does not help people or work with people. So it's just super cool that that's working. But that's what you can do, is give us some thumbs up. You can do that right now, even if you want to. Just, and then we'll share.
Yeah, we did a little giveaway for those of you who shared our post about the Please Help Us. We will announce our giveaway winner. I believe we said we were giving away a set of dome brushes. So with that being said, you guys loved our dome brush sale that we just did, and our stash has been very heavily depleted. We do have another order on the way, but whoever is the winner, I will let you guys know.
Yeah.
I think I have a set stashed in my desk. If I don't, then we will get it to you as soon as we can.
Yeah. There are brushes on the way. But yeah, keeping those in stock. It's
It's
crazy.
a good problem to have.
It's a good problem.
We
to
are
have,
thankful that we are getting dome brushes in the hands of painters, because we had
You guys, the difference in a dome brush
They
versus
are.
a flat brush. The flat brush pushes the paint under. The dome brush keeps it contained. It is brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, if you guys, those of you who know that this makes a difference, raise your hand and let us know in the chats like what you know about this, because people need to know and they need to believe. And what do they call it? Social, just validation. Social validation is so powerful. That's why we shop on Amazon and look at reviews.
Yeah.
Like that's social validation right there. So yeah.
All right, you want to talk about what's coming up and what happened on the YouTube channel over the last week.
Yeah.
So this past weekend, we released our I Love Tacos oven mitt.
Yes, it's so cute.
It is so cute, and this is a very quick and easy and affordable project. We got these from the Dollar Tree, and I believe they come 2 to a pack.
Yeah.
So when you get them, you have 2 projects. You can grab a small stencil or use one that you already have. You can do this for any season, any holiday. It's a great gift, and it's just, Patty ran into a subscription box that was
$50.
$50 a month.
2 towels and 2 mitts.
Yeah.
And seasonal, you know, and so every month you're getting charged $50 for this like thing. You can paint on towels and you can paint on oven
Yeah,
mitts.
and you can go get this. You can get 2 for your $1.25. You can grab a wooden spoon. You can grab a tea towel from the Dollar Tree. You can paint on it even. You can put your favorite recipe in here, and here's a great gift for
such a great gift.
very affordable price.
Just really neat. Like, don't forget you can paint on everything. Like I absolutely love to paint on just about everything.
Yes.
If it's not nailed, I painted on a dog once. It was a white canvas. Like,
mean,
it needed to be painted.
Are you ready to show what's coming this week?
I am. I'm excited.
I was not super into showing this. I wanted to make you guys wait, but I'm going to allow it. This is our project that we're releasing Saturday.
So super fun. We have such cool Easter stencils, and Easter's coming, and Hippity Hoppity Bunny is coming to grace your front door.
Yes.
Okay, so we show you how to do the plaid. We show you how to get the tail on there, how to make a straight line. That was actually worth the price of admission. When this will be released Saturday. So you're gonna learn how to get this plaid. You're gonna learn how to get a line straight, and then how to glue on the things and what glues to use. Those are really good all-purpose things, and you'll learn how to paint the project if that's what you want to do. And we do have a set yet.
We will have a
on
set for
Saturday.
that. It does not come with the tail.
You have to get that from Amazon
You
or
can
from
get
your
those
craft store.
from Amazon, but yes, we will have a set for this that is going to include stencils and surfaces.
Yeah. Super cool.
Super cool. We had a couple questions
Yeah.
about
I know,
the
we
oven
can
mitt.
talk.
Woo! One of them was from Janice. Do you use the same paint on the oven mitt? Absolutely. Acrylic paint is very hard to get out of fabric. Ask us how we know. And then Esther asked, was the oven mitt treated so you can wash it? So we had that
The
question.
oven mitt was not treated, and what I would do if I was going to be a using oven mitt person is I would give it a press with a hot iron and just kind of seal that paint in. And but there is no treating that you need to do when you do fabric. You can use a fabric medium. DecoArt has a good fabric medium that keeps the fabric soft because the paint does dry hard. However, on an oven mitt, you really don't care, so you don't need to worry about that. So yeah, I think that's good. A couple of other Easter stencils that we have. Oh, this one's got a dust bunny and a bunny. You can do these in any color. They're so versatile. You can do your pinks, your yellows, your whatever color you want. So keep in mind that you can change the colors. And then this is one of my favorites. We did this stencil and then paired it with the tea towel stencil. So you can combine your stencils, and don't forget that you can be super creative with stuff you already own. So anyway, just sharing those. And shall we get started?
One more question about the oven mitt. Do you put anything between the iron and the fabric?
Yeah, you could put, I would cover it with like either a piece of parchment paper. You could do a napkin. They called them pressing cloths back in the day. So you could just something in between. Just, you don't have to. It's not going to melt the paint onto the iron, but I think that's always a good idea. Some fabrics, so depending on what your oven mitt is made out of, if you had like a canvas one and you pressed it, you might get a shiny spot on it or something like that. So you do that to prevent the iron from changing the texture or the color of your mitt. Not necessarily to keep the paint from transferring on there.
And I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of giveaways on our YouTube channel. We are going to have giveaways for Blake Battles, who asked a question that I will respond to, and Toby Truth. So I will give you guys my email, and you can send me your address and keep asking questions so that you might be able to.
Yeah, we love the questions.
giveaways.
We're live here just to get your questions answered. You know how you call customer care and you get, somebody that does not speak the language that is native to our country. And that's, I don't care if people have other languages. I just sometimes need to understand, so it's nice to have just like real-time live answers. Ask the question, we'll tell you, it spurs your curiosity and we'll take care of it. So,
Yep, I think that is all for me.
all right, so did not take out my paint color.
While she's getting her paint, so this is
very
a kind of a part 2 to last week's live video. Last week we wanted to show shading and highlighting, and then when we pulled out this project that is several years old, we realized that there was a little bit of bleeding on the leaves, and so we decided to push that portion to this week and use the same project.
Yeah, I actually started the process over here. When I pulled this out, I really loved the idea of showing how to shade and highlight through a stencil on lemons, because these lemons, if you look at last week's live, so did that make it to our playlist, our live playlist? Yeah, so last week's lives, we have a playlist that is called Lives or something like that, right?
I think it's questions and answers.
Yeah, okay, so questions and answers, but it will have all of these talky versions of what we're doing. And if you look at the thumbnail on that, and you'll see what the lemon looked like before. I should have left one of them undone. That would have been a good idea. But if you look at the before and the after, it's absolutely amazing. Okay, now that was done on these lemons, and this is a waxed board. I am unsure who painted this. This was at our retail shop, and then we kind of moved some things around, and things got migrated over here. So I grabbed it because it had lemons, and they looked a little flat. And then when I grabbed it, I noticed, and I don't know if we can get can you get tight in here on this, the bleed there? So it's very warbly around our edges. Okay, so somebody was in a hurry. That's usually what causes bleeding. Either the wrong tool is being used, your paint is too thin, or you're in a hurry. And I don't bleed under, generally speaking, when I'm painting, but I will tell you, when I hurry, I almost always make a mistake. I'll get out of my line of my stencil. I'll do so those are the things to watch when you're stenciling and you want to stencil better. Get a little zen with it, take a breath, be chill. Like painting is to relax you, right? So we want to make sure to relax. All right, so
Pat said that the leaves look after the updates we did last week. They do.
They look like,
we agree,
like trash is what they look like. Okay, so and look at how pretty, like the lemon and all of this is really well done. All the blue is great. So something that could have happened to whoever painted this, and I literally do not know who did this. We have a body of teachers that teach over at our retail shop, and we have a couple of us that paint all the time. And I can't remember, I know I painted one of these bunny signs, but I have no idea who painted the other, so I don't remember everything that I painted because we paint so much. But sometimes, if I'm going to do this, I haven't shaken this, I didn't have my paints out, I didn't have them ready. I'm going to pour this out, and it's actually not bad. I would say this is a color we haven't used in a really long time. So see how that's kind of egg yolky looking? So now I'm going to shake it up because I really know that we have not painted anything with this color in a while. Have you?
I can't remember. Was that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a very...
That's it.
yeah.
Out of the tape line.
Out of the tape line? Oh my Lanta. Okay, so I've shaken it up, and now we're gonna come over here. And while both of these have an egg yolk look, you can see that this one is way higher. So something that could happen to somebody, this is a really unusual color, is if you haven't used it for a while and you put that in your dome brush, the thinness of your paint can cause it to bleed under. So that could be a reason for bleeding under. And I'm kind of getting a little bit in front of myself, so we're gonna go to what do we do about that wax? Okay, so we have wax on this. If I put water on this, it would bead up and do the things. That means my water-based paint is gonna bead up and not wanna stick. So a couple of things we do. First, we take our, inside the tape lines, Steve, Zep cleaner, and I'm just gonna go ahead and spritz that on, let it sit for just a minute. I'm gonna get it off my lemon, and then I'm going to wipe that off of that area. Okay, and what that's doing, you want a cleaner, and then always, of course, test your product. So you want a cleaner that says that it's a degreaser, because the wax is a oily kind of surface, or yeah, material. Ooh, got way more up there than I thought.
So our question from Kelly about this was, do you do the same thing if you had used the Krylon 1311? Will it come off similar
It
to
will
the
not.
wax?
Yeah, the wax is the greasy part. And so think about wax and how it's just, waxy. So that's why we use the degreaser. But then we're going to do the next step, which is what you would do if you varnished. So we're doing both steps to the wax piece. So the next step is going to be twofold. One, it's going to scuff up your surface so that the paint will stick. So I'm going to just sand. I'm using my sanding block. I'm just going to sand to cut through. So say it was Krylon 1311. You can also, the bucket of scraps. This is a magic bucket of scraps, guys. You want to keep your little ends and bits gathered so that you always have a little piece of sandpaper when you need it, like isolated sandpaper. So I can take this and just kind of get in there without worrying about the whole block touching. Now I want to try, I've already sanded this board, it's been sanded across. I want to keep my sanding to go with that same grain of the sanding I've done already. I'll turn my piece around. If you ever have something that is awkward and you don't feel like you can make it, like you can reach, turn your board so that it makes sense for your reach. Okay, and then I need to do this guy over here. Let me get a little bit of that Zep because I'm gonna alter my colors just a little bit. I think the colors would be prettier in a greener tone. So I'm gonna treat them all at the same time. So if you've varnished, you can do this step, and if you've waxed, you will do this step. And then I'm gonna go ahead right now while we're in the sanding step. So say, I want to pick on this guy right here. Say you've got a Americana house, and say maybe you're tired of Americana, right? So maybe it's gone by for you. Maybe you want to change it up. So what you can do with anything that you've already painted, now stain is going to be weird because you're not going to get this, you could take it all the way down. You can take an electric sander, take it all the way down to the wood, and then restain, okay? But you're not going to get the letters off without affecting the stain. So at that point, I would either sand it all the way down or I would paint the background a color, okay? So that's what I would do there. And so we'll take our firm grit, and what you want to do, you really don't need to sand for any other reason than to get the raised bits. If you're a heavy-handed painter, you're going to have a little bit of a raised bit around your stencils. One thing about our stencils is they are 7.5 mil stencils, which means the thickness is a medium thickness and it's not a 10 mil. Some of the other people in the marketplace have really thick, and some will even go to 13 mil. That leaves a trough to be filled with paint, and you end up with these raised letters that kind of feel and look a little bit junky. So the 7.5 seems to be about perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna get any texture of the letters because that will show through your paint. Okay, and feel it. Let your fingers do the walking. For those of you older than 30. Okay, so now we choose a color. Mustard is the color of the year. So I'm gonna say we're gonna do mustard.
What color is that? 25?
Number 25.
Do you remember where you got the Zep?
Online. It was, we bought a box of it from Amazon. Definitely
I know that some of the big box stores sell it. I don't know if they
think they
sell that
have it.
specific color, like
Yeah.
the green one, but I know that I have
Degreaser.
seen it in some of the big box stores.
Yeah, no, you will want to, did you notice that I didn't want my lemons affected, and so I got that cleaner off of my lemons, because sometimes you can remove the paint, and some of the pigments of the paints are different than other pigments. Okay, so see how easy it is to change your board. So say you painted a crappy board. Okay, let's just say it like it is. Like, I hate that board. It didn't turn out right. I don't like the colors. Whatever your negativity is about it, sand it and do it again. Like, your boards are infinite. And then I don't know if you've noticed, I'm going to point it out to be very obvious. There she goes.
Sorry, they always come in two.
This is dimensional lumber. This is a 2x4. Like, right? But look how cute that is that it stands, you know, so, and then this is also dimensional lumber. So you can totally paint just boards that you have laying around. You know, you have extra scrap from a project that you were building at your house, chop them down, and then you're going to have, you know, things that you can give away. How cute would it be to have like a cute little like office gift for somebody? I think, remember, dimensional lumber is your friend as well.
I have a request for you guys. So our friend Jana said that she got some of the honey bottles and is going to put some of her most used colors in there. So if you guys grab honey bottles and you go to Sherwin-Williams and get the paint, let us know what colors you guys are using as your most used colors. It's just some, you know, we use white and black, 27 and 28, 22 the cream, 18 is our Christmas color. So those are
gray.
Yeah, a gray.
Yeah.
So those would like be our probably 5 most used, but we are, I'm super interested to hear which ones are your guys' most used.
Yeah, and you know, and it's so interesting, like this Easter guy right here. Oh, look how cute. All right, ready? I just remember also that you can paint the back side of things. And when you do this, I've got like these command strips on here. You can just pop those off. They won't hurt the paint. And so you can make things multi-directional. And don't forget, there are 2 sides to everything. 2 sides to every story.
At least.
Yeah. Okay, so now we've got it sanded. We've got it cleaned. You could shoot it with the blow dryer if you feel like you got like a lot of stuff on there. And then we're going to take our reusable stencils. Those of you who use Cricuts, I'm not against a Cricut. I have one in myself. But if you use the Cricut and you use vinyl, then you have to throw that away when you get done. You can't reuse it. So then you're cutting another one, you're weeding another one, you're doing all that. So these are reusable, washable. We have videos on that, so you can check that video out if you want to know how. And so we will get this guy. You know what? I'm laughing. Oh my Lanta. The stencil is textured and it looks like it's bled.
Oh.
That's super funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't like that. Let's not make any more like that. Okay, but yeah, I am just dying over here because that is so funny. Let me find a plain back so you guys can pick up on it. There we go. So I laid that down, and do you see all of this little ridge? Like, so I know why it was made that way, because all of your leaves and stuff in nature have that little bit of imperfection in them. But when it was just based one simple color and didn't have any other detail, then it looked like it was bleeding under. So indeed, I am fixing something that I'm about to redo to look like it's bled under, but let's take it one step further and add a little detail to it so it doesn't look just bleedy. That's so funny. All my bleeds are lining up perfectly. Give me a ha-ha in the comments.
I'm giving you a ha-ha. It's like panic attack.
Oh, golly. That's funny. That is super funny. Like, I didn't even lay that leaf pattern on top of there and look at it because it just was bled under.
Well, and I think that's also a good point of something to bring up. We've had people contact us and say, I think that your laser, there's something wrong with your laser because this letter looks a little bit wonky. And more often than not, it is not the case. The case is that's how the font is.
Yeah.
Sometimes our fonts are intentionally wonky depending on what the design is because that's the look we were going for.
Yeah. And so also an interesting thing, when we, I'm going to get a second coat on this guy. When we have made, there was a Christmas countdown in the past that had a very, very, very textured font, and it took like 30 extra minutes to cut it with all that texture and layers per stencil. It was ridiculous. So we cut out some of that texture and it cleaned up the lines, and it also made it go faster. So there's just a really bunch of different reasons and why things get done and stuff. So I'm still chuckling in my head about that. That's funny. Okay, so put that aside. And now we'll go over here. Let's make I'm gonna grab out some colors because of the discovery. And I think I'm not gonna do number 71 because I feel like that's an interesting color for these leaves. So I'm gonna go 42.
Okay.
And I am shaking. And 43. And since we shaded the lemons, let's shade on the leaves as well. Okay, so that's just kind of a tired green. It's very, 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 very toned. And this is just a nice sagey green. And we'll get out one more color. One thing that you can do is either with your number 22 or your number 27, your white or your cream, I could, and I'm going to do it this way just so that you'll see how, I could make this lighter color into something lighter to highlight with by mixing one of the two of these. My board is a cream color, so I'm going to choose the cream to do the mixing with. I've got the bangle bracelets on the wrong wrist today. Let's just fix that right now. Okay, so we'll go in with our palette knife and give him a little mix. So I've got 1 to 1. I'm just going to lighten that up. So now we have 3 values of colors, and then I'll probably put out just one more little blob just to have it be the final highlight. So 4 values of color: the dark, the light, the medium light, and then the lightest. Okay, and we're going to go into our dome brush, and I'm going to start in my middle value color. So that means the middle range, the darker middle color. And I'll pick up my dry brush, I'll offload, and then we'll come over here. And so this is a really good example. It may not be a good I bled under example because we're gonna re-bleed under because the stencil's shaped that way. But it's a really good example of how you would change a color if you didn't like something that you did. So you're just gonna go right back on top, and we'll get out our masker. If you guys don't have a masker, you need one. And honestly, 2 is the magic number. And you could even use more, but 2 is perfect because you can go on both sides of something. They make it so that you don't ghost into another section of your cutout when you're painting in multiple colors. So see how close that is to that. They're good friends and neighbors, but good fences make good neighbors, right? Okay, and so we'll just get that based. Shall I leave these 2 alone so we can compare?
Yes.
Okay. Kari says yes. Okay, and then we have to do another coat. Remembering last week we talked a little bit about when you dig a hole, if it's cold, it's wet. So don't be afraid to shoot with your blow dryer. If you put wet paint on top of a wet spot in your painting project, then you can pick up the paint and that will leave a hole, and a hole is a heck of a thing to try to fill in. Okay, so I'll stipple over this to get better coverage. Swirling is a good base, and then stippling will just get it there faster. It's also a lot more work. And then when you're moving your masker around, wipe it off with your hand so that you know that you don't have anything. If I lay this on top of my yellow lemon and I put a green line on there because something was on there, you don't want that to happen. Okay, so we're gonna go fill that in, and now we are ready for the next color. So it doesn't, because I'm on top of the green, it's going to kind of undercoat a little bit, but that's not bugging me. So I'm gonna hit that with the dryer and then now I know that these are dry and I don't own many, pretend like I'm a customer. I don't own but 5 of these brushes. When you start changing colors, then what happens is you have to use like 1 color per brush. If I start with my middle color and then I go highlight, then I can use all of that paint and then I can come back to my dark and I can just use 1 brush to do my colors. Now, if I change from yellow to green, that's not gonna work. So if I'm within the yellow family, I can make it work. If I'm in the green family, I can make it work, but only if I stay in my color families. So now I'm gonna come over here to my lighter color. I'm gonna mix, and this is what I call neutralizing. I'm wiping out paint using another color to make it lighter. And now what I'll do is I'll pick it up again, and now I'm offloading. So this is actually the load, this is the neutralize. So when I put that color with that color, wipe it all off, neutralizes the dark color in my brush and makes it lighter. I'm using all these big words today. I'm smart.
I am smart.
Okay, so your highlights are gonna be on top and where the tips are. And remembering last week's lesson, if you wanna see how to shade and highlight lemons or any fruit or any shape, we want our light to go on the same spot. If I put my highlight on this side and my highlight on this side, your eyeballs are gonna be like, what? I don't understand. Whereas if I put them on the same side, and then one of them needs to be stronger, if I put them on the same side, then it's going to make it more pleasing for your eye, and your eye will lead through the art, and it's gonna be pretty, and that's way more technical than you need to know for stenciling. However, those of you who wanna go there, we just went there. Okay, so we're gonna keep our highlights to the top, same side as our lemons. So I'm just gonna highlight through my stencil. This is the best thing about stencils. Highlight all the way to that tip, highlight on the top, all the way to the tip. I'm gonna talk in sing-song today, all the way to the tip. Okay, so next, I've got that piece. Let's take a little peeky-poo. And, okay, so I've got a little bit of ghosting and outlining there. I'll show you how to fix that in just a minute too. Okay, so when you line up, it's so interesting to me that that happens. Pick this up, bring it to the top. So it's almost like the person who painted this did not tape their stencil down because it looks perfectly lined up over here. And then when I get to this side, you saw that little ridge of paint. So sometimes you might need to actually do your stencil 1 leaf at a time if you're not somebody that tapes. Remembering also, I feel like this is like a remembering video. Remembering that if I tape in 1 spot, I can move this stencil all over the place. Versus if I tape in 2 spots, I'm gonna line that up high there. So I can take care of that ridge on the top leaf. If I tape in 2 spots, I can't move that stencil at all. So when you're stenciling, anchor your stencil down so that you don't end up, if you decide to go backwards, doing 1 leaf at a time is kind of a pain, right? You don't want to do that. So make sure that you give yourself future grace. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to use that color. I was in the lighter color.
So we have had some recommendations for next week.
I love it.
Asking us to do a lesson on how to fix holes.
I love that. I was thinking that actually when I was talking about it. Because, oh, holy holes. Oh. I can show you how to create one and I can show you how to fix one. Okay, so I think I've masked most of that. I'll have to come in with my medium color, but I think the shadow will take care of that. Okay, so now I'm going to go 1 step further. We're going to go into the lightest green, which is the cream, but I'm not going to worry about neutralizing it. I basically just brush mixed by using that cream in my brush, in my dirty brush. It brush mixed the lighter color. So now, so I don't know why I can't talk with my glasses on my face. If I'm
about
gonna
to get
talk,
serious.
you guys know, there goes the glasses,
And
right?
she's gonna paint when they go back on.
That's
so
always,
she
yeah,
has
you
a
know.
couple tells.
You can do the scrolly thing and be like, just want to see the painting. Okay, so you've got your leaf shape. I call it a dinner plate, right? We talked about this last week too. And then you put your food on the dinner plate. So that's your base color. So that's that medium green was our plate. Now our spaghetti noodles is gonna be the green. So I'm gonna put the noodles on the plate, not too many or it's gonna fall off my plate. And then on top of that goes some sauce, right? So the sauce might be my shadow color. The sauce might be my highlight color. Really, I think the highlight color is gonna be the cheese on the sauce.
Right.
So we're gonna pretend like we're sprinkling just a little bit of cheese. You're not gonna like blanket, like sometimes we blanket with cheese. Just saying. I know, like, All right, so we don't want to cover up the whole plate of spaghetti with our light color. So we're going to come over here and just put some cheese on top. But we want it to go where there's something to catch it. We don't want to put like a pile of cheese over on the blank part of our plate. Has to go on the part that's already got the last step on it. Okay. And if I wanted to, I could go one more time, barely wipe anything out, one more time. And then just really give it a cheese.
Shouldn't use this analogy before lunch.
I know,
Yeah, we're all so
this
hungry.
analogy is like making my mouth water. So see what we did here is we totally made a highlight go all the way across there. And now I'm going to make sure that my stencil is actually lined up with this part of the art. We're gonna do this one leaf at a time. And because the shadow is going to fix the stuff. And when we talk quiet, that means I'm focused and concentrating. Let me get the highlights down here. I moved it too quick, whoops. I put up a table this week and injured myself. Okay, so we go over here. So notice, this is really, really a good lesson. Dustin, if you can at all catch this. Notice that you don't just see that light color on there, like you see it. You should never look that harsh and that strong when you're shading. There should be some sort of like natural panoramic like fade. If you go from like black to white scratches, it's too light. You need to get something in the middle. So I had jumped up 2 times. I had done my light color that I brush mix neutralized, and then I also did my light color on my brush. So what I have is the brightest highlight. So I need to go backwards just a little bit. So I'm gonna wipe out to neutralize. And something else that you can do, if you jump up and you make a big mistake like this, where it's just like, what am I gonna do? Your click eraser in your color will erase and it will take off fresh paint. Okay, so that is a great way to fix a mistake that is really like a mistake. And I could have masked that, but I think it's a better lesson the other way. Okay, so we go over here, we neutralize, we're gonna go back to the green that was the first highlight. Notice that I've been using this brush for like 3, 4, 5 colors. I've got loads on all sides of my paper towel now. That means I've got paint is going into this brush. The more I load and use a paintbrush for stenciling, the more I need to spend some time on the paper towel. Because if you push on it in any way, you might get a little bit too much paint, and we're trying to really do a faded look here, so it's important that I have very little paint on my brush.
Well, and that's when I find myself bleeding under, is when I have done the layer after layer after layer
Yeah.
and the color after color, that I don't when you're going between the 0 and first and second layer, and you can see the difference it's making, then it's easier to not bleed under because you can see it. But once you get so many layers and so much paint in your brush, it's hard to have to remember.
Spend the longer you use a brush, the more time you spend on this paper towel. Do not take shortcuts. Okay, so I've got that little tip there. Sing Song Voice is back. You're welcome. I do want to share that I painted the most fun things this week that are coming up in a few weeks. I think it's probably maybe even 4 weeks out. So much fun. I want to like, today I was like, can we show them? Can we show them? Can we show them? And she was like, no, it's not yet, not yet. Oh, it's killing me, man. Okay, so then we're going to take that light color and we'll do that next highlight. Now this leaf is on top, this leaf is on bottom, so this highlight doesn't need to be the whole highlight. It just needs to be some of that highlight. So don't feel like you have to get all the way there. Okay, so there, I highlighted it, but it's not as bright as that one. And I might want to kiss that just a little bit more. The pressure that I'm using on this is like what you would do if you were feeling like a baby's skin on its foot or something. You just like, oh, that's so soft. That's how soft we're doing this. We are just super, super, super soft. Now we're gonna go back and neutralize for the dark, and we'll go into the dark, straight on our light color. We're gonna neutralize. Flip the paper towel over. Don't be afraid of offloading this paint. It seems wasteful, but it has to be done. I've thought of everything I could do to not like waste the paint. It has to be done. So, and I think one more load, because I had to go all the way from like number like 9 on the value scale all the way to number 2, and that's a lot of steps in between. So I want that darker color because that works good with that. Okay, and now let's give us some shade. Sitting in the shade. Where did my multi-mask? There it is. And so we'll go here.
And as Patty is painting, I had announced a couple of winners for YouTube prizes. For Facebook, I have sent some messages to some people's direct messages and asked for your address. So if you have received one of those messages, be sure to go back after the live's over, don't do it now, and send me your address in Facebook, and we will get out prizes. And most weeks, I'm pretty good about getting those out pretty fast. Last week, we got them out. Some of them went out the day of our live, and I've already had 2 people message me this week thanking me for their prizes from last week because they already got them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's amazing. All right, sorry, gotta dry. Trying to dig myself a hole. Almost had next week's lesson today. So I noticed I was getting some pilling up on my, on top of my project. And so then it was just, I was kind of like digging and lifting and doing some stuff there. So, oops, get the masker there. Very important to mask. Okay. So I think, let's take a little peeky poo. And okay, so see what we've got there. It just kind of fades nicely, goes across. It's a little bit strong right here, so I'll show you how to fix that. And then if you noticed on my taping, I'm taping in the holes. And that's a really neat trick to do because I'm lining up. You can tell I'm a terrible liner-upper, as we could see in my lesson here today. So I can just mist a little bit of that dark over that, and then that cut, that like sharp line right there. And then we can reposition. I want that top corner of that leaf right there. And give him a little shadow. Now, this is where 2 come in handy because I don't want to shadow the bottom of this leaf or give it a different color, so I'll mask on both sides. And sometimes I'll even tape these multi-maskers down. Okay, take a little peek. Yeah, okay, so I a little bit have a strong line right there. Let me get my mascara in place. Make sure I'm not wet. Just ever so lightly. It's almost like you take that blush and you put it there and you're like, and then you just take a lighter brush and you just feather it in. That's what I'm doing. Makeup analogies work so well with stenciling.
When I think this is, last week and this week is a really good lesson for, there are some people out there, shocker, who don't love stencils. They think it might be
Crafty,
cheating
yeah.
But
you can make art with stencils.
last week and this week, if you look at the leaves left and right, There's a major difference, and it looks like a completely different project,
Yeah.
and really brought it to life using techniques
Yeah.
that you can use with or without stencils.
Yeah. I think if you look at the base of, like, the letters and the banding are fine, but like if you want these to a little bit feel like an art piece, I think this is good stuff to know, and you can really highlight. So if I want to bring my eye into this middle right here, then I could darken this, keep this the same color, and give some light and life to this, and then my eye will go into the middle instead of being flat.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important. And we did all, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors because we brush mixed with one brush. So that is how you can use one brush to do that. And I'm gonna plunk that guy in water, and that is that lesson. And then really quick, we're gonna give this one more base coat, maybe 2, just because I think it's super important to see how you can totally transform an already painted. I'm not seeing any of my lines. And so you could add a word, whatever word you wanted to do. You could add art, little bunnies. One thing that we don't talk about all the time, but we should scream it from the rooftops because I think it's that valuable. Our stencils, generally speaking, come in sizes. Okay, so there's some that do not, but early on, so like we started our stencil company because I was an artist that was selling kits to painters. Okay, so that's why we started with stencils. And there are things that no painter on earth should ever have to paint, like bats, spider webs, crackled glass. If you had to trace that, base that, shade that, highlight that, snowflakes. Oh my Lanta.
I'm looking around. I'm like, what all is terrible?
Yeah. Oh,
Drop shadow.
Drop shadows. Yeah, lettering. Honestly, lettering, if you have to trace every bit of this was done. Drop shadow with a stencil. Look on our website, look on our YouTube channel and see.
Well, everything about that one. The bunnies,
yes,
you don't want to hand paint.
Nope.
The drop shadow, you don't want to hand paint. That long tea towel. There's no way. Mine would be like,
yeah. Like, do the wave. Yeah, and so it's so important, but the sizes. So you can, buy the one that's this size. So I knew when we started making stencils, I knew what I wanted as an artist. So everything that we do here is 100% because it was what I knew from teaching painting and publishing and doing all these things all these years that people wanted in a stencil. So sizes is one of them. Most other companies, I'm not bragging like I'm bragging, but I'm not. Most other companies, they do like one size, 6-inch and a 9-inch, maybe 2 things. And then, but we've got like 3 to 5 sizes, and we try to give you everything. Yeah. And it takes a lot more work to do it that way, but we love doing it. Dustin's like,
Dustin's like, quit giving me new sizes. Stop it. 5-foot porch sign.
Yeah. That's super funny. Okay. So that is how you can just change. You sand it, change your color, and now you have a new color that you can paint a different word on. So don't be afraid to fix and sand, and like this was waxed, guys. So you can do it. You can base coat, shade, highlight, do all the things after you finished your project. And I love that you can go backwards and fix it.
Agreed.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on Tuesday.